Hey everyone, Duke here, and today we're going to talk about tips and strategies for completing the Warpriest challenge, Devious Thievery. The challenge here for both normal and master is that you need to steal the brand from your teammate within 5 seconds of picking up the brand claimer that the knight drops. Before we talk about challenge strategy, let's talk about setup and encounter flow. I highly recommend having at least 2 Well of Radiance Warlocks here, as this will give you both a 25% damage buff during DPS, as well as more importantly, keep you alive without really any thought during the damage phase. One Divinity user with the other 5 players on linear fusion rifles is going to be your best bet for DPS. As mentioned in previous videos, if you don't already have a good LFR, you can easily get the patterns for and craft the Type-in LFR with triple tap and firing line by doing a short quest from the Enclave. My video talking about this will be linked in the description. For the master version of this encounter, you will have champions spawn instead of the normal orange bars before the plates phase. The hive section of the encounter will have barrier knights, so Arbalest will be great here for not only these knights, but also the solar shielded wizards as well as void shielded taken acolytes later. And even on normal, Arbalest can still be helpful for both the wizards as well as backup ammo during DPS, as it still hits reasonably hard. As for your energy weapon, on normal it's not too important, but on master you will have overload hobgoblin spawn during the taken phase, so bow overload will be an outstanding option here. You don't necessarily need to run bow the whole time if you aren't a huge bow fan. As long as you have the overload mod on your gloves to start, you can just quickly switch weapons when the overloads spawn. Aeons are once again going to be extremely helpful on both normal and master, leaning more towards even required on master. Every champion will be finisherable for heavy, as well as the 2 yellow bar wizards that spawn on both left and right sides, so there will be plenty of chances to make heavy for the team. Having one person on each side with Aeons can be helpful, just to have more than enough heavy, as well as making sure that the Aeon users themselves get some heavy too. Once all 3 enemies are defeated, either the orange bars on normal or the champions on master, the plates phase will start. I feel like this challenge will be one of, if not the hardest challenges to complete, so we're going to go over as much as possible in detail. So to start the plate phase, only this middle plate will be active, and you'll need someone from middle to stand on it and activate it. And once you're on, you're going to notice that either the left pillar or the right pillar is going to be glowing white. If you're off the plate, you can kind of see the difference here. It just looks like the normal kind of brown. When you get on the plate, you'll see how it looks white. Now, when we're not actually in the encounter, they're both going to be glowing white like this, but only one of the 2 of those should be glowing white when you're actually in the encounter. And actually, there is the option as well for neither of them to be glowing white, which would mean that the middle pillar is going to be glowing, which we just can't see from here. But basically, this is telling us which plate is going to be first for the activation. This can be a little bit confusing for people just because you have to get on the plate, figure out which one is first, and then get off the plate for it to actually start and activate. So make sure, again, you get on, figure out which one it is, left, middle, or right. Again, if it's not left or right, it's going to be middle. Then you're going to want to get off the plate and call out which plate is first. So after you figured out the first plate, you're going to want to have that person get on the plate. So for example, we'll start with middle. Let's say middle was first. Again, that being that neither left nor right was glowing when you first get on the plate. Again, make sure you get off the plate first, get back on the plate, and now either left or right is definitely going to be glowing since you've actually started the rotation. This is you being on the first plate at that point. So you're just going to look left. If it's glowing, you call left. If it's not, you can look right, or you would just at that point know it's going to have to be right. If it's glowing, it's right. Once these pillars are gone, if there is a fire basically where the pillar would normally be, that is going to be your cue saying that it is that pillar basically. Again, it's the same idea as the glow, it's just instead going to be like a big fire where the pillar would be normally. Let's say instead it was the right pillar first, that would mean the right plate would need to be stood on first. So again, you'd get on right plate. All you got to do here, literally just look across at that left pillar. If it's glowing, you would call out left. If it's not glowing, you call out mid. And again, make sure in all these circumstances you stay on the plate until all 3 plates are stood on. And finally, if it was the left pillar first, that would mean you would get on the left plate first. So get on the left plate, and basically just the opposite side of the right side. So instead of looking at the left pillar, you're looking across at the right pillar. If that's glowing white, you would call right. If it is not, you call middle. And again, stay on your plate until all 3 plates are stood on. Note that that only needs to be done for the first plate, because once the first plate is on and calling out the second plate, then that second person can get on, and immediately once the second person is on, you know, of course, which plate is third, have that third plate get stood on, and that person is going to be the one with the aura. Also, just a couple of tips with the plates in general. No matter what plate you're on, whether it be left, middle, or right, don't be like right next to it. As you can see here, I'm not even on the plate like physically, but I am activating the plate. So like if you're really, really close and you're kind of like moving around, or if you're getting shot by the boss, like you might accidentally activate plates. It can be very, very easy to do so. If you're just about this far away, you know, a couple steps, still close enough to be able to get on, but not so close where you're going to accidentally touch it. I'd highly recommend that no matter what side you are on for the plates phase. Now again, going to the challenge, we only have 5 seconds from the time we pick up the brand to basically be able to steal the brand from the person with the aura. So a couple tips here that are going to help you out. First is wherever the third plate is stood on, right? That's going to always give you the aura. So let's just say it was like left, middle, right, and let's say right was the last person to get on the plate. That means that this side is not going to get a knight. So if you didn't already know, right side knight is going to spawn pretty much right here, big taken animation. Middle knight is going to spawn kind of right in front of this door, and then the left side knight is going to spawn, again, kind of near this door, just around this general vicinity right here. It's going to be pretty obvious when you come up to these spots, or if you're looking for it. It's a big taken animation, you're not going to miss it, but it is important to know where they spawn. And again, like I was saying, only 2 are going to spawn during the damage phase, and it will never be on the side that got the aura first. So again, maybe for another example, if I was getting on the left plate last and I was the one to grab the aura, that means this knight over here is not going to spawn. It's going to be middle and right. Could be either order, it could be middle right, it could be right middle, but it will be those 2 knights. So that's actually very, very important to know and very useful information to know, especially for this challenge. Now for the DPS phase, I like to stand pretty much right here, as this is a good angle to hit the Warpriest. I know a lot of people, especially back in D1, we'd kind of sit back here and try to do DPS, but until this middle pillar is gone, he kind of jukes back and forth. He can run left, he can run right, he can be right behind the pillar, then suddenly you got to be like over here to try to hit your shots, you got to be over here to hit your shots. The pillar gets in the way a lot, it messes things up. It's also a lot further away from 2 of the 3 knights. So the knights, again, is the hard part of this challenge, right? They're going to have 5 seconds to get the aura from the knights, but by standing here, again, 1 knight spawns right in front of you in middle, so this one's super duper easy to get, and the one on right spawns over here, so you're very, very close to the one on right as well. We'll talk about the left knight in a second, but middle and right, by standing right here, you are good to go. You can very easily get from your knight picking up the brand claimer to the aura within that 5 seconds and be able to steal the brand safely. I would recommend killing your knight as fast as possible when you are on knight duty, but make sure you don't actually pick up the brand claimer until the person counting down their timer with the aura is at 5 seconds, so that you are able to grab your brand claimer, come to the aura, and immediately take it, because you only have that 5 seconds. You don't want to like come to the aura and then like try to time how long 5 seconds is, and you also don't want to grab it right away, and you know, if they're still really, really high on their timer, if they're like 15 or even like closer to 10, if you're grabbing it, you know, with 5+ seconds on their timer still, you're losing out on a lot of damage. You yourself didn't do any damage, of course, which is fine, but you're also losing multiple seconds for the rest of your team's DPS as well. So you want to really try to time when you're picking up specifically the brand claimer to be right at around 5 seconds, so that you're going to make it to the aura within that last second or 2 that you would want to anyway. Now for the knight on left, it is obviously super far away from where we are doing DPS on the right. So if you do get that knight on left, you're going to want to call out as soon as you pick up the brand claimer. Try to even maybe call out like as you're doing it, so the person with the aura is aware, and they really need to be aware here. And as soon as you pick it up, from the aura person's perspective, you're going to be over here on the right. You want to just run and jump directly at the person that is coming to you with the brand. Obviously, you're going to be moving the brand away from your team and your DPS team, but this is going to be a lot more effective than trying to move your entire team over and, you know, just doing absolutely no damage for possibly 5-10+ seconds. Here, you know, you're only losing a couple seconds to be able to jump over here, grab that brand, make sure that you are able to grab it kind of as you're passing, and then immediately you can both turn around and continue the damage phase from over on the right. From the brand claimer's perspective, again, you are going to be running pretty far, so you want to try to do your best to communicate, and also once you kill your knight, you can kind of edge up front in front of it. Make sure you can still see your like ability to interact with it on the bottom of your screen. And once that person with the aura is at about 5 seconds, again, call out that you're grabbing the brand claimer, pick it up, and then just immediately run at them. You're going to try to meet each other pretty much halfway, like right up in the middle here. That's why this person with the aura is jumping up at you as well, because you're going to be up having that extra height. So you guys are kind of meeting each other in air. The whole aura, as long as you're both within that aura, as long as that brand claimer person is within the aura that you're creating around you, they will be able to interact with it and be able to steal it from you. So this gives you the ability to kind of meet each other halfway. Shouldn't take nearly the 5 seconds, assuming you communicate it properly and run at each other properly. And then again, come back to your DPS phase and continue your DPS. After each DPS phase, you'll need to use the pillars to protect you from the wipe mechanic as normal. I prefer to use the right pillar for the first phase and middle for the second. For normal mode, you should be able to kill the Warpriest within 2 to 3 phases and not need to use the left side pillar at all. For Master, or if you just lose DPS somewhere along the way, after the third DPS phase, you'll need to make sure to be behind the left pillar. In order to do this, I recommend that once the last person gets the aura in the third DPS round, the entire team moves up to the left side immediately. You will lose out on most of this last 10 seconds of damage, but this ensures that the rest of your DPS time is up as much as possible. Repeat the same process every round until the Warpriest is defeated, and enjoy the loot and challenge completion. I hope this Warpriest challenge guide was helpful, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.